Hey everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and you're watching Leafs in 7, where every Monday we take a look at the last 7 days of Leafs hockey in about 7 minutes and just talk about some news and how they played. Over the last 7 days, the Leafs played 2 games, those being against the Anaheim Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings. And in my last video, I did a prediction and said that the Leafs would win both games, and they did, but not exactly how I would have expected, or I don't think anybody would have expected. Starting out with this game against the Anaheim Ducks, the Leafs look in control from the start to the end. They get a 3-1 lead and they blow it again, but this is unlike the other leads that they've blown so far this year. This is an example of the Leafs just absolutely shelling Anaheim. Another instance where their goalie is standing up and playing at the top of their level. John Gibson played incredible, kept the Ducks in the game, and then the Ducks are able to get a few on us to tie the game up 3-3. The game goes into overtime. It doesn't get settled. And then my least favorite thing about hockey and the NHL is the shootout, but we were able to get that extra goal, and so the Leafs come out with a win 4-3. Again, I'll emphasize, while this is another instance of a 3-1 lead being blown for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's unlike the other ones that we've seen so far this year. The Leafs controlled the play. The Leafs controlled the shots. They looked like the more dominant team all the way through. They just got goalied, and the Ducks are a developing team, a young team that's getting better. I take it as a good win for the Leafs there. And then going into an even crazier game on Saturday, the Leafs against the Detroit Red Wings. I know one of my subscribers was at this game, so I hope you enjoyed the wild game that this was. Detroit gets a 4-2 lead, or actually going back before that, they were up 3-1 and it was their turn to blow it. They go up 4-2, and then in the third period with only like 12 minutes left in the game, the Leafs just start piling it on and they don't get stopped. Michael Bunting with the hat trick, while his own Scarborough town is featured on hometown hockey for Hockey Day in Canada, the first time in history that a player has scored when his own town is featured on that show. And so he leads the team to tie 4-4, and then Sandin gets it done. Marner with an empty netter, JT with an empty netter. This game ends 7-4 with 5 goals in the third period with only like 12 minutes left. It was absolutely insane. Detroit, I thought, looked really good for the first 2 periods. I thought that Toronto wasn't playing to the best of their abilities, but it wasn't that Toronto was playing bad at all. I thought Detroit was just playing extremely well. And again, I'll emphasize what I said last video. They are a young developing team that is going to be so good. I mean, they've got Zadina, they've got Seider, they've got Raymond, they've got Bertuzzi, they've got Larkin, they've got Nedeljkovic in net. They've got a young core that is only going to get better, and I thought they looked really good. They just need to figure out how to close out a third period, because we know that here in Toronto. We know the challenges that come with a team that's really good for 2 periods but just can't pull it through at the end. Fortunately enough, Toronto was able to come out with the win on this one. Some other news that came out this week was a discussion on Petr Mrazek. Apparently, according to Jeff Merrick, there are teams calling the Toronto Maple Leafs to see about the availability of Petr Mrazek. I would have to think that the Edmonton Oilers are one of those teams. Some of the teams in the leagues are really looking for some goaltender help. I know the Buffalo Sabres are really struggling with their goaltending situation. So I'm not surprised at all that people are looking at Petr Mrazek. I mean, he has been a starter in his career. He's not having the best season so far this year, but he also doesn't need to be. He's been winning games even though he hasn't been holding us in many. But he's been good enough. And the whole mantra this season has been having 2 starter goalies, 1A, 1B. I know Jack Campbell has pretty much stolen that job, but it's important down the stretch to have extra depth in the goaltending situation. What if Jack Campbell regresses and starts playing poorly? What if Jack Campbell gets injured? What if in the playoffs we need some depth? Well, it's important to have Petr Mrazek, and with that said, the Leafs are not going to be making a move for him this year unless it's an incredible deal that they can't pass up. It's just not happening. I think that this is a move that they'll be looking at in the offseason that was included in the article, but it just makes the most sense. That money could also then be transferred over to Jack Campbell's next contract since he is an unrestricted free agent. But he also has a no-move clause, Petr Mrazek does. So it'll be interesting to see if he's okay with getting a move. It'll be up to him. He's kind of in control here. So it'll just be both parties having to work together to find a solution that ultimately I do think that Petr Mrazek will be out. And my philosophy is that your backup goalie should be a young goaltending prospect in your system. And we've got a few. I really like the looks of Joseph Woll. So it'd be nice to see him next year backing up Jack Campbell. Looking forward to this next week. I know in this video, you can only see one of the two games just because of the schedule, but 2 games this week against the New Jersey Devils, 1 at home, 1 away. I'm going to say they split it. They go 1-1. The New Jersey Devils are a good team. They've got Jack Hughes playing at a high level right now. They've got Jesper Bratt. They've got some young pieces that are doing really, really well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get a win against the Leafs, but I will say that the Leafs take one of those 2 games as well. And then later in the week, it is the All-Star game. I guess I'll be watching, but I'm not super excited about it. Stay tuned because I'll probably release another video this week about the All-Star game. I went into a deep dive earlier in things I would change about the NHL, and I'll do a quick version of that for the All-Star game later this week. So there it is. That is Leafs in 7. Stay tuned because we got one of these coming out every single Monday. Click like, click subscribe. Let me know your thoughts about last week and the week coming up, and I'll see you in the next video.